So I guess we can start your presentation, Bogdan. The floor is yours.
Okay, thanks, Damian. I just try to find where the green button for sharing is. So, hope you can see my screen. I'll try to hide this one. Oh, okay. Okay, I don't know. Do you see the rest of cameras from Zoom or only my screen right now? No,
Yeah, I can see your screen and I can see also your camera.
It's not very good. Okay, I'll try to hide it. If something, just let me know if I go far away from the camera.
Right.
Control it, but don't know how to make this smaller. One more second to try to. Oh, hope now it will be a little better. So it's not only my adventure. I would like to take you as an adventurer for that cool, interesting world of Xamarin and building UI in Xamarin Forms. That presentation should be a little bit with interaction with audience, but as we have only online session, if it will be possible, I would just like to write something in chat when I ask you. I don't know if it will work or no. We may just try. So what I would like you to show in that presentation and what you will get from it. I go through all basics with building UI and animation in Xamarin Forms, stop in interesting tricks, also show a couple real world useful examples. For example, like build credit card view or something similar with that, like to in interesting way show that your list don't have any data and so on. And what I will not show you in this presentation? Okay, so in this presentation will not be any talks about any architecture, deep linking, most popular databases. Also, I will not touch any MVVM frameworks. It will MVVM framework independent as much as it can by solutions. Also, I will not speak about mobile cycle and app testing. This presentation will be only about good-looking UI, show samples in XAML code or C# code like code behind. Here is a dummy C# code photos that I could find. Hope you enjoyed it. So, adventure, let's start with good-looking UI. And I start from really obvious thing. Good UI, it's not bad UI. But for me, as a developer, and I'm not a designer at all, it's quite hard to see where is difference between the normal but a little bad UI and good UI. And for that, I'd like to show a couple examples. Probably you saw it in the start of 2000s, some days 2010. And still, right now we could here find a couple applications that looks like that. And that examples still exist. Some applications are built with that UI, but why in 2019, 2020, why we built up that looks so weird? Because that application should work, not nice looking. And why we come to that? Because when I was a child, there was quite awesome Microsoft Word program that looked like this one. It's 2003 or even older. And it wasn't about user experience, how user is better to interact. It was only added features that user could use, should use, and will be happy with that. And here I would like to come back with a little hall of shame for me. This week the week ago, I got to rewriting simple application. And one of the screen, and most of the screens look like that one. It's an app that works with built-in scanner that should scan one type, couple another types, third type, and they save forward. And it was pretty unclear from user design how it should looks, but everyone who used that app was happy with that path. And this app right now exists. And during writing, I proposed a couple upgrading for UI. I proposed something that looks like that stepper that show you workflow progress and show you where you could go further where you are right now and what you should do. But I was so far from really good UI. That UI still for me looks nice, and I think it's much better than it was before. But only in a minute search in Dribble, I find something like that. And here is just make a screenshot from the left image, and something like that will definitely give for user quite nice user experience. And here I would like to interact with you a little bit. For you, what is UI is better right now, right or left? If we're right, just type a plus in the chat. If we're left, just please type a minus. Just wait a second, I check if someone writing something here or not. No, if it will not go on, I will just not make it again. And we have something in chat. Plus, okay, it's pretty easy right now, yes? And you're right. Yeah. So for seeing such things, to teach yourself to seeing it in UI, you could use quite interesting website that named Xamarin and C. And now I'd like to continue with user interaction for a moment. And please tell me which one is good. It's pretty simple. Don't write for this one. We all know that left because it's really clear. But what's about now? Which design looks better now? Okay, left. There was quite visible text on it. Okay, and what's about now? Now both implementation have a white text. Right. That's so smart here. Yes, because it's a secondary action that we won't like to user pay attention a lot of. So we here showing this is a primary action. This is secondary. Let's go further. What's here for your opinions better? So it's left. Yeah. Their contracts is a little bit better than in right one, and it's not really clear for user with image. It's sometimes hard to see with all other interface. Piece of cake. So the same here. That's dot right, yeah. And now, yeah, it's still right, but there was a lot of more interesting things to check in for you. Just go to the site. You, for each right answer, get a coins, and in the end you just have some sum of coins, and you could just share your results. Really a cool site just for checking your knowledge of UI. And here one more example. It's probably the last one as far as I remember. Right, left. Yeah, the right is left because contracts on the right one is it's not good contracts. It's couple percent for the left, and for left it's a little bit easier to read user what there was and prior action when you type on it. So where can I learn a design? First of all, is best of Behance. We could find inspiration there. Also quite good. It's a dribble. It was a big mistake all previous times that I had never looked inside. It's really to find everything you want and have a good inspiration according to application on that site. You just type Android, iOS, or cross-platform and find really good inspiration. And what else? Also would like to tell you that in the end, you will get one link for more than 30 links from this presentation. So just don't make any screenshots right now. Also, after my presentation, I type the final link with all 30 sublinks in there into a chat. So just make a screenshots right now. Here is a free design user interface book where you could just read how create your user interface design for your app, how to choose colors, how to create a slide alpha, and so on. Also, as when you work for different clients, you could take a client brand book where listed all interesting details, how colors should look like, how our buttons, how a shadow on it should look like, and others quite interesting thing for you. Okay, close chat for now. And here's a short video for you about UI UX transfer in 2020. Our example voice is just a music there, and I try to speed up video a little bit because I have a lot of materials for you in the rest of application. So what is trend in 2020? It's a dark mode, as you might suppose. Also illustration in UI. Animated graphic and microtransactions. If you pay attention, each button, each part of UI, it's not appearing immediately. It's appearing some delay that creates in your imagination something like a animation for that button. That short delay, because if delay will be long, user just thinks that it's lagging. Functionality it's not a long video, it's near ending of it. Yeah, attention to details, it's really important. And it's what you probably in most should pay attention, because for me, it's really hard to see the details in the beginning, especially imagine what I should pay attention more at in my apps. So let's continue our adventure. And now we start with a theory time. Oh, it's clicking, not? Okay. And I would like to begin from visual forms material. If you don't try it, you definitely should do it. That's why nowadays it's much easier and much better to work and create mobile applications for Xamarin, with Xamarin forms rather than Xamarin native, because most of brand books that you will get from your customers will try to have the same UI in 99% for Android and iOS devices, and Visual Materials give you out of the box. For using Visual Material, Microsoft Visual Material in your application, you just need to download NuGet packages for your shared code with forms and for Android and iOS project as well. Then initialize an Android and in iOS, Advocate and main application. Later, in each page where you plan to use Visual Material, just add one attribute, visual equal to material. By default, it's equal to default state, as you may expect. So, but sometimes not all implement as you want it, and you still need to write custom renderers to get a little slightly different user experience for Android or for iOS or for both. And then here come for us our Visual Material custom. For create custom Visual Materials, quite is just inherit from iVisual interface, add and export render. Here just to pay attention that you should inherit from material and rendering rather than just simply enter render like you done it before. And that's all. And your visual tag just placed on platform. Set, for example, here for iOS, we use custom materials. For all other platforms, here only for Android, and material design. Font icons. I think you already use them, but it's really good to pay attention here because they are up with icons. It's awesome. Also, you probably know that Xamarin application really friendly to use every type of fonts, every type of icons, and most popular is Material Icons Library or Font Awesome. I also would like to mention you that we have also Icon Moon, quite interesting website where you could combine both icons for material icons, fun icons, moon, and for awesome, and select only the icons that you need. Because probably you don't use in your app all the thousands icons that come with that font. You probably use 5, 10, or 50, and Icon Moon give you a possibility to create the font only with that icons, which is really awesome because your app will not be so huge and have less megabytes in APK or APK files. How to use it? Quite easy. Just add to assets a font like Icon Moon TTF. TTF is really most popular type of files for icons. In iOS, you should also add additional information about used fonts. And after that, just create one string by on platform, because installation in each platform will probably has a different endings. Here, for example, for iOS only Icon Moon, for Android with direct path, and Sharp Icon Moon is the same for UVP. After that, just create a style where you already apply it for font attributes. And that icons is really good to define some class where you could have easy access through the static, and you could have it predefined through the whole application, and then use or font family or a style. Visual State Manager. Quite interesting, quite simple things that allow you to define couple states of your UI. For example, here we have a normal state and invalid states that change a background color for Azure for our stack layout. Also, I can done it also for a label or button and change their properties according to the global state of your application. And it will be looks like this. I know it's not example time, so I don't pay more attention here. Animations. Here's a basic information about all animation available out of the box for Xamarin, such as simple animation where you could translate, move, rotate. It's quite ugly at the start, but when you try to combine it, add different durations, you could create a really nice user experience with nice animation just out of the box. Also, we have easing functions. We have bounce ins, bounce outs, and other. And what we could create with only that one. Here, I'd like to show a simple shake animation. This is just shaking your entry when you add some incorrect values to left and right, and with less is less values was just stopping the center like it was before. Pretty simple. Lottie animation. Lottie animation. Am I lost my internet connection?
Yes, there was a interruption, connection break, but I guess you are back online.
Okay, and how long I was offline?
It was just a few seconds.
A few seconds. Okay.
Yeah, and there is also one question on the chat for you.
Okay, I probably should. I don't have a separate monitor here, sorry. And I don't see any previous messages in.
Okay, so I will read the question. So
okay.
The question is from Andrew, and Andrew is asking, do I have a possibility to connect font awesome straight to my CSS file?
You don't need to do that because you probably can't use, as far as I know, any values from fonts in your CSS styles, because CSS style is just styling how your tag labels or buttons will look like, but what inside the button or label, where you could type the code of your icon, still will be done in XAML code. So probably no, and you don't need to do that. Okay. Is it clear now? Can I proceed? Okay, cool. So Lottie animation. It's so much time goes. It's quite easy and simple to use. Just, again, initialize it after installing NuGet packages and use. in this website, you should download a JSON file that you could attach like binary resource or content depending on the platform, and then just start animation. For example, here with autoplay. There was a lot of free animations, but also really nice paid animation in a bundle that you could buy for your application. For example, you create application for delivering food or for drivers app, and there are whole bundles with nice magic could attach, I don't know, in a minute, just in a couple clicks. CSS and less. Xamarin loves CSS. It's really awesome to styling with that, but we missed our variables for CSS, and it's become a really mad to use them. But let's also allow a Xamarin, and we easily could use with it just by defining such simple group file where you're telling where is your last files and where compile them. Also by watch function, each time when you save any changes in your last files, you method to get new CSS files in your Xamarin Forms project. It's here is important only that CSS files should be where is Xamarin Forms project shared installed. Because it should be attached like resources. You can use SCSS, but it's too complex and sometimes give you some errors when that code is valid for Xamarin, because Xamarin has its own custom CSS, and less it's not so strict for that things. And here, what I just would like to show you a really awesome thing from LS. It's a combining. Then when you combine your CSS code, it looks really nice, really easy to read, and you can style whole containers, whole components, or even whole page in group ways. So for example, you could create in the left side bottom bar class that combines itself couple elements. Later you can combine couple other classes higher and just use reference for the bottom bar, and it's really nice and easy to read. Also in LS you could import one color file through all your LS files and other common dimensions, for example, and other shared resources, but probably it's only dimensions and colors as far as I use that. Okay, try to go further. Examples time. Okay, at last we come to that. And here I'd like to mention one of the topics from Focus on Xamarin, really awesome conference that was a week ago in Wednesday. And from Steven, we have building beautiful apps with Xamarin Forms. It's like a continuation of my presentation because he touching another side of real nice implementing writing UI in a good way and show good examples. He's more focused on grid, while I'm more focusing will be on my examples with animation. So you definitely should, after Damian's presentation, for the evening, take a coffee, take a tea, and just watch the presentation. The link will be in the end, as I mentioned earlier. So, Javier, really nice guy. He was a lot of cool, awesome features. He's also was at Xamarin Focus on Xamarin event, and here I'd like to just show you his application, and you probably could pay more attention for that later when you just go and check your video with more details. He's in this quite small and nice app show us how we could use the features we have from collection view, carousel, indicator, and refresh, and also swipe. For example, scroll to galleries, just scroll to index. What we will have? We have a couple rows. We can scroll to index, for example, 25, and it will scroll us. It's a really nice playground app where you could just try what you have in mind and just later apply in your code. It's really code by, it's really easy for code behind. So you could just open view from playground and copy that code into your application. So you definitely should check that. For example, indicator view, just clicking through a couple views. We could make it square, a little bit larger. Okay, Also, you could change color for them. Pretty nice. What I will also show you. Oh, a swipe. Swipes is really new in Xamarin Forms, a really awesome feature that I missed for a long time. And here we have interesting, here we have the basic implementation of this feature that you could just copy and reuse in your app. What is good from this playground application that you, from this application, will know what is available from a box and what you could use. So let's continue. Quite simple, interesting ghost animation. You could use it when you have some collection of data or lists showing and it's have no data. It's done quite easy. What you need is just add some animation NuGet, which allow you to play with basic Xamarin Forms animations from a XAML code. Here, for example, we repeat it forever with 1 second to top and 1 second to bottom with sign out function, which is translating us for 20 pixels at dimension screen to the top. For that example, in our older app, is a year for this app, we used state squid. Why and what's this? It's allowing us to define couple interesting states of your application. For example, loading, success, error, empty, and other. Could easily manipulate them from a code behind. For example, in the left, I start for my application state, set current state for loading, and in the end of loading, I just check if any items are available, and that check to none, means default with a list, or empty. It will just a different templates and UI. So you could not shoot or rely one by another layers and showing, hiding, it's just one layer or second in the same location. What I could propose for you to do right now, because probably most of features TypeScript is not required for your app, and it's really simple. You could just use collection view or put refresh view. Because put refresh giving you quite interesting, quite cool possibility just to pull down with your fingers, showing, loading, cut and refresh your data. And the collection view by itself giving for us, for example, empty view. It could be used with our template as early, such as grouping, scroll mode, and others that's really used. All that features you could go and know from Java video from Focus on Xamarin event. So let's move on. Action menu with animation. It's a little bit interesting than previous one. What we have here, just move myself a little bit. Here we have an action button in the center, action menu that appears and disappears by a click, and animation on that icon. It's just a plus icon from icon moon. It has command that just change visibility for action menu, which has binding property is opened. And have two actions with our data triggers that I mentioned earlier, that we have duration when it enters, mean when it clicks, which rotate us for 135 degrees and it makes from our plus and X, and exit action when we click again or click somewhere else except the menu actions. It will just rotate our button back. Really simple animation. Box itself created by two box view. Now it's could be really easy done with other things, but a year ago we done this with that way that we have first box round with a white color on it, a second with a primary dark with a little margin on it for 2 pixels that give us like a shadow, that white border. It depends when you use. You can use that one or another because it's not a button at all. That's why you can't use here. It's a trick for you. That's why we have that binding. And here we have a command binding here in the code. So, and here just a label with a grid. Actions menu. It's a little interesting, but still pretty simple. that background made with one more box view that have set opacity. It's set in less code. That's why this code is really easy to read, because we don't have on styling in our XAML. We could just see the tree of our elements and where it is. And it's still use stack layout binds to our collection in backend code. And in template, we have the same button with the content view for large black background where it contains a label. Nothing special. And here is mentioned early CSS code. Much easier to right now to read the code, because if you're interested in a styles, you open less. If you're interested on the tree of your elements, how do the elements placed, you just go to XAML file. And as I mentioned, box view for background have that opacity for 0.8. That's why it's not white at all. And we could see all other elements in the background. And here I'm going to pay a lot of attention about that binding property. It's really easy for showing, but one interesting thing, I will just scroll a little here, and it shows each menu action don't show immediately. It's just showing with some delay. For that delay, we add additional logic in the backend for our component that on open changed for our own menu, that can hide animation, they fade to, and show animation that's showing for us image for each element in how to call it, not an ordering, sorry, forget that word, in reverse ordering, yeah, in reverse ordering each element, because the lower element should appear first. Here we just getting the reordered collection. While we fading, we in the same time animation that translation for each item. So it's fading, and during the fading, each item comes for our screen. Again, back to Java. Quite interesting plant mall application built by him a year ago with Xamarin UI challenge. I also have that one demo for that, because he's used such cool NuGet named Pancake View, and I saw that on Xamarin forums that they have really awesome playground, but I don't know where it is right now. So just mention the couple things that important here. For example, first we could create different angles. Each of angle we could have different angles in 1 hour box, and each angle we could add another corner radius. Also, we could have custom borders like a dashed outside borders and other. Quite interesting also, we could change the whole view, for example, for triangle. There was really nice showing playground, but as I mentioned, I just don't know where it was at this playground. Sorry for that. Hope to realize it later. So back to this example. Here we have quite interesting animation for showing from the bottom additional card. That card done by Pancake View, and on expanded and collapse, it used fading and translate animation like the previous ghost. Through the UI is just showing the box view that shows when it expanded. And the bottom we have card pop-up view that here we see only top of it, and later when it's appearing whole, we could see all the card pop-up view, but it's all time exists in the bottom. And it's also done by Pancake View, nothing special here. And one more screen from Java where we could take a look of such interesting switcher, I could tell, where we could switch value spinner, or even this better one, from with pluses and minuses, it could switch a value, and it's done also without any buttons. It's just one more Pancake View with 3 labels inside, and each label here a tab gesture recognizer. If you don't know, we could add different recognizer for probably each visual element in Xamarin Forms. So even with a tapping by a simple label, you could add in your code behind calling your command from a view model. So have the same functionality like a button, but without that fading and fade out, pressing view, but you can add it also with different transactions. So let's go further. Here also is nothing special, just he's showing us his parallax effect when he scrolling up here in a moment. How that page is translating on the top when he's scrolling down, that all description of the plant. It's on a screen, still get a transaction X. I calculate is the height of it, according to the current position of the screen. Nothing special. Let's go further. Some girl, Charlene, and here we have two interesting samples. First, card preview, and second, that custom entry that with that pattern for writing card number. So let's start from the card placeholder itself. It's just a grid where he had two columns. First for showing image that is binding through the card light converter. And the left part, the first column, that's divided for a couple grids where will appearing our card number, expiration, and CVC details. As I mentioned here, just a simple grid. We have a background color, and grid was inside the frame because we would like to have some corners on it. Here I would like to pay attention for that entry where we entering by us a card number. It's again a frame which has a stack layout with image in the left part and entry in the right. But what is interesting with that entry that we have a mask on it. So when we type in more than 4 digits, it adding dash that it's not in our value binding to backend, but will be in our UI. And also we have custom visual design that here implement in each platform, because that entry don't have any identifiers that it's separate entry. We think that it's that all control is an entry, but it's just a frame and a stack. And here renderer is just setting control background for null for Android and the same for iOS border style. And it's give us a custom render, a custom entry that it really looks really nice with that image in the left. Let's proceed with credit card. Here, like pay attention more is a quite interesting white lines that was really interesting for how Kojo done it, because we already seen how to done that card layout, so I will not stop on it, but his way a little bit different from some girl, so you probably should go to his blogs that will be on the links and check his implementation. Here we'll pay attention to the white line. I thought at the beginning that it was done by SkiaSharp because SkiaSharp is made for that. But his trick was a little interesting. He done couple box views, and each box view was just a rectangle. Here, small that white line is just a box view separated, and this was quite cool trick. So if you don't know SkiaSharp and don't want to use it in your project as another dependency, you could just create such lines with a simple box views. That is a white. But they have a slight bug, but I think he don't test in that way because it's not production app, it's just for, again, Xamarin UI challenge. You could just easily overwrite it, but adding in that layer separate grid with one box view and card in the same level, where a card is a bit lower, so will be overlapped that box view. And when you scroll left or right, you will see that box view. Damian, if there will be some questions, just interrupt me, okay?
Yes, sure. No questions so far.
Right. Or bad, I don't know. Let's go. Also, quite interesting thing that I found in his UI challenge, that a flex button. Here we have on a card additional buttons that a little bit lower than other, and it's named a flex button. It's quite cool NuGet that allows you to add such buttons for iOS, same as an Android, because by default it's only Android feature to have a flex button. Here a couple of his flex button implementation, for example, this one and this plus, but I will not stop a lot of that. You could later just go to his blog and check more details about that. Here's example from a repo flex button, what they give for us, what controls, what kind of controls, and what we can do and done with that. Also, you all should.
Hi, can you please speak more briefly about the flex buttons? Yeah, exactly. I have a little bit of a delay. Thank you.
Okay. I don't so familiar with that buttons, but they, as far as I saw by blog from Kajar, am I right? Yeah, Kajar, it's really easy to use them. Just adding a NuGet package, as you may see from his repo, and center the flex button, because flex button centering inside his parent container and stay all time in the same place. That's why, for example, here, this button stay on the parent container, it will be all time in the screen, but that select button during the animation of swiping left, right, because it's a collection view for the cards, it will stay within his parent credit card, and when you sweep in left, right, you just sweep with that parent. That's all I could tell you. There's a lot of properties with that button, but I don't test it by myself. I just find that example really useful.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Just go later and check. But as far as I remember, also don't stop a lot with that flex button. The best for your thing, just go to the repo and get more examples there. And really awesome example is Anzon from Kim. It's really awesome because it's done with a really simple code in behind, and it looks really awesome. Let's start from that appearing X button. And here I like to pay attention more with animation, because from the UI, it's quite easy to show the font with a circle on it, but translations and animation is done is really clean way. So you could just copy that for your project and it probably works immediately. What we have, just checking if we showing or hiding it. Then after it fading animation, you could see that here somewhere it start to fade and fade in. Also rotation during that fading and translating in the beginning. Really nice example. Later, that delaying is showing the cards and how they opens. They have all is visible property, and on opening, each of them change the rotation of cards, meaning it's going that way, and change fades. When it's finished his fading, it just move back to rotate to 0. That's why you get such interesting animation, because that initial rotation will done immediately even if we don't see it, because it's invisible, rotating, and start fading back and rotate and finish our rotating. Closing is just done it in the descending ordering, just turn it back. What else? It's a flipping, because when we press here to delete, we have a flip whole card. And again, it's like on other transaction done with rotation, but now it's rotating not an X coordinate, but with Y one. And it's, after rotating, it changed to visible, later go back. So, quite good with time. I come to my last demo in this application. It's really awesome, magic gradients. With a simple gradients, you better go with pancake view, because they're quite good and don't have any additional requirements like a Skia. But magic gradients comes with Skia, but allow us to use complex gradients. Here I would like to, one more time, switching to my phone and show a demo. Here we have 400 examples of different gradients right in CSS. You also could write simple gradients with XAML, but a complex one, it will be really hard to write for you with pure XAML. For example, such easy gradient will be done in so much lines of code in CSS, but what is great from this app that you could try it here, ensure it works here, it will work for you. Also, for some of them, you could look from what layers it created. Here we have 3 layers different, but all that view still under developing. And all that you should know for you as a developer how to use, just copy our control in your layout and paste inside the CSS that you find here. And what is new here is additional view where you could test your gradients, how it will look like in different size of buttons or like a list background. It's a new, still under development and in a separate branch. I hope in a week or 2 it will be merged and you could use it in your, and you could check on your fonts. Just like an example, you could show you, I don't know, for example, that one, quite nice gradient. But for larger buttons, it will not look so cool like for smaller one, that one. What we could also check here, I don't know, just select a couple of them. Also, that playground is not done, but we could already change the text color for ensuring that your icon or your text will be visible on it. Here only 2 of them, they're black and white, but later we'll be adding more. For example, such animations. So you definitely should go and check that. It's lightweight, it's add only skier for yours require like additional NuGets, and it's work really fast. It's what is good also, it draws only once in your screen. And that's why they could be loaded really quickly. Don't add any lags or freezing at your UI. Really, that was awesome. Just go and check. It's really interesting new way of using complex gradients in your application in couple clicks. Oh, here one more example here. It's a Magic Gradients roadmap. We all time developing, adding a lot of features, and we really need your opinion about it. What do you miss? For example, like that what I shown you, such playground with some buttons where you could immediately test the gradients instead of adding to your applications and thinking is it good or bad, recompiling, because it's much easier through the playground app that we deliver in our repo. So we're really waiting for your comments, fixes, or some additional features that you would like to see here. So it's a conclusion time. It was a really nice adventure where I'd like to show you just how easy we could add nice transactions, how easy we could create like a credit card templates, how it could use and combine that code, how we could add different rotation with hands-on app, like an example for your application, and get a really unique and nice animation for your application. But it's not the end. There's a lot of more stuff that we can speak more deeply in the future. And here we come for next adventure. What's still missed in that app, in this presentation, and you could add in your app, where you can proceed with our investigation without adding one more word about focus on Xamarin, which is really awesome. We could spend later some other meetup more time with a dual screen application, then more about SkiaSharp, because it's awesome for a lot of another example rather than just lines, triangles, and other shapes, either like a gradients with gradient view. But for example, here just a progress bar done in couple lines of code with a gradient as background, not a magic gradient, but a native SkiaSharp one. Also, we could tell a little bit more about shared transaction, or here transaction, like it called in Flutter, because it's primary feature in Flutter, and we still have it in Xamarin Force, but we should tell about this a little bit more than just one more slide. And here that link that you should copy, but later we just pass for group and meetup and here in the chat. So thank you everyone who joined me today, who listened my poor English. everyone who asked the questions. For all your questions, I could answer here in Twitter, so just ping me and I give you an answer for all your questions as far as I can do that. Thanks everyone. Maybe you have some more questions.
Yeah, I can see that the meeting is being recorded. How can I get this recording?
So the recording will be available somewhere in the future. I don't know when exactly, but it will be.
Yeah, I want to know how.
It will be on the YouTube, I guess.
Okay. Are you going to add link to the channel?
I first need to, do some, video cutting stuff, check
Okay.
the video quality and so on. And
I'm just asking about the channel in order to subscribe to it.
Channel, there is no yet any channel because our group, Xamarin Warsaw Mobile Developers, it's not yet on the YouTube. But I will write a comment to this meeting on Meetup, so you will get the notification once the video will be available.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but I just got this link from a friend. I don't know the background of it. Can you tell me more about the group and stuff?
Yeah, sure. I will paste the link on the chat to the group.
You have my email and you can email me stuff. I've just sent my email on the chat.
Oh, here is available.
Okay, so I have just pasted the link to the meetup to our group.
Okay, thank you so much.
So as the end words, just want to ask you to subscribe on my blog and Medium if you're interested in other details about magic gradients. Thank everyone who tell thanks for me in the chat. Also, there was a quite interesting question where we could check that stuff. So it's a GitHub. Will be in a moment in the group chat, linked with all other links. I mean, this one, where is a link for a GitHub repo where you could download a solution. There will be a playground application. We're still not in any store, but our application done without any MVM frameworks, only with a shell. And there you could just compile and run in your phone and start to use it, start to check set gradients and select the best for you. And if there are no other questions, what if can do we have want to contribute? We have in Magic Gradients repo, we have couple tags on the issues, where, like first issue or help wanted, where you could add your comments or add your implementation. A day ago, I don't remember that name. One guy just fix our major bug with repeating linear gradient with cool math that it's much more cooler than mine, and we plan to merge it today or in the morning. So we are open for contributors. We really need your ideas. For example, it also was an idea of our contributors. Someone typed right for me and we add that thing. Also, we plan to add more interesting stuff with seeing how the layers are done or how to copy. Also, it is still in developing color filter because it's not works really nice right now, but we plan and we try to add more. Also in a we have a backlog there with all other issues, where we also have an issue with adding 800 more complex gradients. And I think with that stay at home, we plan to implement it really fast, probably this month. So the gallery will be much higher than it's now. So I think I'm done. So stage is yours now.
Yeah, are there another questions for Bohdan?
If something, just write me in Twitter. Okay, guys.
All right, so thanks. I guess no more questions.
You're awesome.
So thank you, Bohdan. Thanks for the great presentation. A lot of great examples for nice looking UIs. And now we will take a short break. I guess we have 5 minutes for the break. So we will meet here again at 7 p.m. for the second presentation.
Okay, thanks. I will just turn off my video and microphone. Have you could stop sharing your screen here? Oh, here was a button. Okay,